So what happens when a producer greenlights a movie idea in the middle of a writer's strike?
Is that what happened? That's how this movie happened?
Yes, it was a writer's strike in 81.
Whoa, well, that really explains a lot.
Find out next on Trees in Space. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trees in Space, the show where we watch and review all movies in any genre and tell you what the fans thought, what the critics thought, and what we think. Was it worthy of a forest, a grove of trees, or just a stump? I'm Jason. This is Nate. We're together for the first time in about a year. And in case you missed the thumbnail, this week we watched the 1981 horror spoof, Student Bodies.
We did. Why did you choose this movie?
Well, there's a few reasons. I've been wanting to watch this movie because it was one of my favorite growing up. Again, I watched it when I was like 9, 10.
Okay.
Loved horror movies. And we just need to get a movie out, and it's October.
That's fair. This movie had me very perplexed because I laughed. You sat there with me and you saw me laugh.
Yes.
But it wasn't funny.
What do you mean it wasn't funny?
It wasn't a funny movie.
I don't understand. How are you laughing if it's not funny?
I don't know. I honestly don't. And somehow it's also a very forgettable movie.
Absolutely. Unless you watch when you're 10.
I remember that the breather talked really weird.
I love breather.
I guess before we really get crazy into it, let's go ahead and tell them what this movie is about.
It is basically a spoof on the Friday 13th Michael Myers type of killing where there's a killer that breathes really heavy, kills all the people having sex.
Yes.
And the one virgin girl is the final girl. And yeah.
Yes. And this is the horror spoof before what we all know, especially of, the millennial and above, the spoof of Scary Movie.
Which is a very good movie. It's so funny too also, but this one was 15 years prior.
Yeah, it was in 1981. It's the acting in this movie is over the top. And I feel like you said there was a writer's strike?
Yes,
not an actor strike.
A writer's strike.
Not an actor strike.
Well, I don't think the actors were going to cross over like the lines of the writers to make them mad. Yeah, so they just didn't do it.
Some Z-list actors in a movie.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. I've never seen anything else. The Ritter girl who plays the main character, I think she's related to John Ritter.
Okay,
but that's all I know.
And then I found this actually kind of interesting, and I don't know if you missed it, but the one that was obsessed with her beauty in the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
And then at the very end of the movie, she looks like hot trash.
Yes.
And she dreamt that was going to happen, and then it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of this movie is reality and dream?
Well, like I was telling him while we were watching, I go, this is where the movie's about to get weird. And he said, this is where the movie's about to get weird? Because it's already weird. It's a spoof. They make fun of things. Like the funniest part, I thought, I'll go with that. But it changed at the end. I think they needed to add 20 minutes to make it a full-length film. So they had to add something.
I think the end of the movie was the best part. Like the last 20 minutes of this movie is by far the best part of it.
It's the most spookiest part. There's no spoof at that point in time. Like when she starts getting chased at the end.
Yeah.
There's no spoof. That's like if you weren't already like giggling at this movie at that point, if the whole movie was that, that'd be kind of spooky.
It'd be a good movie.
Yeah, it was a very, I don't know.
And the killer, the breather, he uses a weird objects to take out his victims.
Mm-hmm.
And
hello, it's me, the heavy breather from every horror film you've ever seen. You know me. First I terrorize my victim by the telephone. Then I choose my murder weapon. A gun? Nah, too easy. A hatchet? Nah, I always use a hatchet. For this movie, I want something very frightening and deadly.
paper clips, trash bags. Some kid got killed just to prove a point.
Get his bag and try to get out.
He even get buried.
He did get buried.
And he even get counted for the freaking deaths.
They didn't count him as the
did he?
I don't know.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. He just screwed him. But don't forget the bookends.
Oh,
the
yeah.
horse hen bookends. I had no, when I watched this movie, when I was 10, I had no idea what a bookend was. And I didn't know, it didn't look like a horse to me. So I thought it was some sort of exuberant, exotic type item. I'm like, what is that? How do you make, I know what a horse is. I know what a horse head was, but it didn't look like a horse head to me when they did that. So I was like, that part stuck in my head since I was 10. Horse head bookends.
He was obsessed with horse head bookends. That's a tongue twister.
Horse head bookends. It can be. There was no redeeming quality of any of the characters, I don't think.
I did like Tabby, the main... Toby, which was a weird choice for a name.
Mm-hmm.
But Toby, I liked her. At first, I thought she called her Booby. I thought she was fine. The principal... Okay. How is it that the school is going to try to cover this up?
And solve the case.
Yes. And they're in... No, that's the wrong movie. I almost went to Chud.
Oh yeah, that was...
And how are they going to get the stupid sanitation or hazmat to be in cahoots with them? That'd be a better movie.
Well, it starts off, and I don't know if you were paying attention because you were doing something over here when it started. It's just starting, so you don't really pay attention to things. But they show the house. It looks like Halloween, a Halloween house, and it says Halloween, and then it just fades to black, and then it comes up and says Friday the 13th, and it fades to black. Nothing happens on those days. Then it comes up and says Jamie Lee Curtis's birthday, and that's when the breather shows up. So
I did miss that part.
Right now, just little small things like that, just little weird.
They definitely try to keep you on your toes as to who the breather could be, because they have periodically somebody wearing rubber gloves,
right?
But they're like green instead of red or pink,
right?
And then sometimes they'll be wearing the galoshes,
right? And
just to throw some sort of, weird, red herring.
Yes, and this is one of the movies when I didn't care who the killer was. I didn't even think about any of those killers type stuff. And they even in the movie itself, they stop and say, "Oh, we're getting close to the end. Which one of us do you think is the killer?" He actually asking the people, but that wasn't the best fourth wall. I think this movie has the best fourth wall break of own existence. Where that one professional guy, he goes, it's been proven through science or whatever that it's been shown historically that rated R movies.
Oh,
yeah,
yes. Fuck you.
Yes, so from all the producers here of this movie, fuck you. And I was like, yes. The best scene though was the psychiatrist scene.
In the bathroom where he's wearing his suit backwards?
No, this the whole back and forth between him and Toby. Oh, Toby and him. See, so they think Toby's doing it, so they said, hey, we're going to send you to a psychiatrist, the school psychiatrist.
Yeah, and they let her go by herself without an escort whatsoever. She can still go roam the campus and go do the football games and everything else. She can't really be that much of a suspect.
So they just let her do that stuff, and then she talks to that psychiatrist, and that back and forth, that was some of the better writing they had in the show. As far as the psychiatrist, his the way he talked or whatever. But
I enjoyed when the breather used the rubber chicken to talk through the phone.
Figured you would.
And she's like, and he's talking to one of the faculty members, and she goes, it sounds like you're talking through a rubber chicken. And he's just like,
click.
And every time they answer the phone, you hear,
oh, yeah, that's the ongoing joke to it.
Yeah.
He was breathing on the phone, then the first one, and then she hangs up the phone, he calls back, and he says, I said, so that every time a phone got picked up, you could hear him breathing. I'm going to kill the guy with the gum. There were some cute parts. I don't even know how to run through this movie.
I mean, I feel like the movie is so sporadic that it's hard to kind of follow along with it. I'll say that if you are a film quality snobbishness, you do not want to watch this movie. It's definitely shot in non-HD quality of any kind.
Yeah. It was a B movie back then.
Yeah, and now it's probably like an H. It's
very... they got some pretty good... I thought the actors, they did overact, but I thought they did good jobs of acting for what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The showers or the changing scene in the locker room was a good scene.
It was where he's the breathers.
Yep.
Belly buttons.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really all I can say about this movie.
I'm pretty much right with you. So let's get into the 5-star and 1-star reviews. The first 5-star review comes from Nick G. This movie is a classic. Yes, it is funny and a parody of the 80s slasher films. Even though it came out in 81, there was only 2 at that point. Anyways, the 80s slasher films. The killer, a.k.a. the breather, will leave you in stitches. This movie really took off once it hit cable back in the 80s. It's a great popcorn movie. 5 stars.
This movie probably would have been a lot better with some theater popcorn. Not microwave, Jiffy Pop crap, like real popcorn.
And yeah, with this special like seasons and herbs on top of it would have made it really good.
The first 1 star or less comes from an unknown. Too damn violent and unoriginal.
It was violent? I mean,
it was unoriginal?
I know. I will tell you right now, it does have one. I know it's supposed to be a spoof, but it has one of the better jump scares.
It's got the best jump scare I've ever seen.
It was like, seriously, I forgot it happened. And we watched it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I jumped. I literally went, what the?
I said, oh shit.
Yeah, it was one of the best jump scares of all time. Okay, the next 5-star review from Jamie H. Way ahead of its time, create a whole new genre, dark and funny. I don't know if it's the new genre, but
I will say it's dark humor. You know, I'd definitely go with that.
Yeah.
This next 1 star or less from unknown. Before Scary Movie, there was Student Bodies, a slasher spoof that's more epic movie than it is Airplane. It's just a bunch of cringeworthy, corny jokes that limp along, being neither funny or scary until we reach a dull, uninspired ending that does little more than make me yawn. Well, fuck you, Unknown.
I agree with that. Fuck you, Unknown. Because I tell you right now, at the very end, you did not yawn. You might have yawned up until the very end, but you did not yawn at the very end. No, I ain't believe it.
I ain't either.
The
funniest part is at the end.
Yes, great. It just has but it does kind of just whatever. It's better than Pandemonium.
I agree.
And I love Pandemonium. Okay. And the last 5-star review I have is Unknown. Absolute classic of parody films. The best there ever has been.
The best that ever was.
It's not better than Naked Gun or Airplane.
I actually just got done watching all of the Naked Gun movies.
Well, Naked Gun's a parody of cop movies.
The Naked Gun is brilliant.
It is, and Airplane was the parody of airplane movies.
You know, if Leslie Nielsen was in this movie, like if they had some real character weight behind this movie, it probably would have been a lot better.
Yeah,
it'd still suck, but it'd be better. The last 1 star or less comes from Unknown. Being a stupid film directed at the less intelligent audiences, but become overcomplicated with its various plot twists and utter repetitiveness. Student Bodies is much worse than the type of film it attempts to parody, and becomes a thing too slow and tedious to sit through due to no intensity and even less laughs. It is a slow movie.
It is a slow movie, but I'm trying to marry the idea of something having various plot twists and repetitiveness. If it twisted, it changed, then it's not repeating. I think you're trying to be smarter than you are, but yes, fair. But I think it was 3 30-minute sections of ideas.
Oh yeah, there's definitely 3 different acts. It seems like 3 different people wrote the movie.
Yeah, because the very last act was completely different than the middle of, and the middle was the better act, as like comedy wise. Yeah. The beginning was so who knows. Review says it's from Unknown. A college friend actually owned this movie, and so I have seen part of it. Until this moment, I thought he made it himself.
You picked this one? I read this one. I was like, oh my god, this is the best review I've read yet. Oh, it makes me so happy.
Okay, so now let's move on to the Rotten Tomatoes versus critics and the percentages each one had. Rotten Tomatoes scored this film at a low 33%. The audience, which is you and I, put it right there in the middle, where most movies are, seems to be, and that's at 52%.
Wow, the audience, y'all made some choices in.
I think it's more of a nostalgia for people rating this. I don't think anyone that was 20 watched this and rated this at 52.
I wasn't high enough for this movie to be good.
Well, now you know what Rotten Tomatoes says, what the audience says. Now you can hear what I say. I love this movie when I was 10 because it plays to a 10-year-old pretty well. If you're allowed to watch violent movies, which I was, it's definitely a 10-year-old comedy, 12-year-old brain to enjoy until the end, which is not. I enjoyed the breather so much. I think it's hilarious. I think the principal did a good job being the principal. Toby was very blah and vanilla, but she was supposed to be. Malvin peas red, and that's always helpful.
Especially when you want punch.
Very forgettable parts. A handful of rememberable parts for me. And as much as I love this movie and still think it's better than Pandemonium, I don't think I'm going to rate it any higher than Pandemonium, and I'm going to give it 1 tree. And it gets half a stump because of the boobs.
Yes. Would you recommend it to your surgeon?
Oh, no. I don't want my surgeon to be mad at me.
I also would not recommend this movie to my surgeon. You brought up a lot of really good points. We did gloss over the fact that the purest one is the only one that you can see any sort of nudity with.
That's true.
Which is quite ironic. Like he said, it's forgettable. maybe I'll have some flashbacks on it. Like there's some scenes that loved Melvin.
Mhm.
Melvin. Tall, gangly guy. But oddly enough, I'm going to give this 2 trees.
I was not expecting that. So, well, you heard what Nate thinks. You heard what I think. What do you think? Did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? Let us know down in the comments. Please like, follow, share, subscribe. Let us know what you want us to watch so you can be entertained. And we will see you next Monday on Trees in Space.